Nature. She is mysterious. Just when you think you've got her figured out, she smirks, waves her magic wand, and voila! Your mind is blown. Yep, nature plays her cards by her own rules. And in this video, we'll take a look at 10 of the most incredible profiles of rare albinism in animals. Number 10. The albino moose twins. No, this is not the ghost of Christmas past or one of Santa's reindeers flaunting a makeover for Christmas. The albino moose is a rare specimen that only a few have had the pleasure of seeing. Crowned the largest deer on the planet, moose are quite imposing and territorial, to say the least. In fact, you can check out a few hilarious moose encounters online that will tickle your fancy. But hey, leave that for another day. Naturally, moose are born with a thick, brown coat that easily blends them with their woodland or forest habitats. But for the rare moose albinos that have been spotted in northern Ontario, they don a dense white coat that melts right into the snow. Unfortunately, once the snow thaws, they're sitting ducks for their biggest threat, wolves. Though rare, one of the most breathtaking photos of albino moose twins was actually taken in June 2019 by a driver who quickly snapped a photo of these elusive creatures from her car. And with all their beauty and exquisiteness, it's no wonder the locals proudly call them spirit moose. That's pretty awesome. Number 9. White ravens. For centuries, ravens have been regarded as dark, ominous creatures associated with witchery and evil. So, you might have seen a raven or two send a message in Game of Thrones, but they've always had a bad reputation. Like, really bad. Perhaps it's because their pitch black feathers traditionally denote death. Heck, just ask black cats what they went through in medieval Europe. Ironically, white ravens are considered to be one of the most holy and exotic birds on the planet. And the funny thing is that they aren't even albinos in the first place. We're gonna dial it back to Biology 101 for a bit, so bear with us. You see, albinism occurs when there is a total absence of melanin production, while leucism is a condition resulting in partial pigmentation loss. Leucism is exactly what white ravens exhibit, and that's why they typically have blue eyes, kind of like a white walker. Nevertheless, the most recent sightings of white ravens was in Vancouver Island when a pair of these birds was photographed hanging out. You know, doing what white ravens do. Number 8. The white lion. White lions are so rare that if you went on a safari, blinked once while they were right in front of you, you probably wouldn't see them again. In fact, there are only 3 documented white lions in the wild today. And if we put this into perspective, it means that there are more Ferrari 250 GTOs than there are white lions. Out of the 3, 2 of them are found in South Africa's Ngala Private Game Reserve. And so rare is this gene mutation that wildlife specialists believe it'll take a few more years before another white lion is born naturally in the wild. Number 7. Albino hummingbird. Indigenous to eastern North America, the albino ruby-throated hummingbird is extremely reclusive. Unlike most hummingbirds, which tend to be colorful and emerald-like, this bird seems to come from a page right out of Snow White and the Huntsman, the alternate version, that is. In fact, the bird even sparked media attention when it was spotted sifting nectar in Virginia, miles away from its natural habitat. In contrast to most albino specimens, the ruby-throated hummingbird is rarely ostracized or hunted down by predators, mainly because it's a solitary animal with freakish speed that most predators wouldn't dare keep up with. A rambunctious traveler, it's been known to fly through half of the Gulf of Mexico during its migratory season. Which is funny because most of us can't leave the couch for the bathroom without catching a breath. Number 6. Albino bat. Bats have always been the stuff of nightmares, and that's not even considering how they carry all sorts of viruses and life-threatening diseases. Nature's real vampires, bats have always had a ghoulish rapport about them. In fact, picture sitting in your front porch and suddenly you hear a screeching cry as a pale white bat with bloodshot eyes hurls itself towards you. Oh geez. Well, bats do suffer from albinism. And we're sorry to say that it's not a pleasing sight. On the bright side, as night creatures, albino bats don't have to worry about light sensitivity. Number 5. White panthers. The black panther is a carnivore that's known for its decisive killer instincts. For generations, they've been revered as apex predators in different parts of the world. But what of the rare and exotic white panther? Well, it's almost impossible to spot a white panther in the first place. And that's mainly because panthers are solitary animals, with each cat occupying a large territory on its own. So, if we do the math, it might take a while for 2 cats possessing the same albino recessive gene to mate. However, there is a well-preserved specimen of an albino panther currently on display at the UK's Natural History Museum in Tring. You can also find albinism in other big cats such as jaguars, cougars, and mountain lions. Number 4. Albino lobster. Lobster. We're bet you're drooling at the thought of eating one right now. Lobster equals dinner. But unlike the lobsters we see on our plates every weekend, arthropods can be pretty diverse. In fact, albino lobsters are very much a thing, and we bet you'd be pleasantly surprised if you found one on your dinner plate. At first glance, you might think it was raised in a pond full of chlorine or something, but that's not the case. Off the shores of New Zealand, there have been sightings of the albino pauliphanta snail. Naturally brown in color, this voracious predator is known to make a meal out of smaller arthropods, unlucky enough to find themselves clinched between its tight claws. Number 3. Albino whale. Albino whales of the marine world have been highly revered for years in Western literature, thanks largely to the classic novel Moby Dick or The Whale by Herman Melville. And despite their rarity, there's been quite a number of albino whale sightings. In 1991, a mammoth 45-foot albino humpback whale was sighted off the coast of Queensland, Australia. There was even a more recent sighting of an albino juvenile migrating in the company of its family along a common migration route. An albino orca was also filmed in 2012 off the coast of Russia, which came as a surprise to many because most albino juveniles rarely make it to adulthood. They usually end up in the jaws of the ocean's most voracious predators. Nevertheless, the saline conditions of the water, coupled with the scorching sun, makes light sensitivity way more dangerous for albino whales, especially when they come up for air. And now we've come to the best pick of the day. Number 2. Albino alligator. The story of white alligators crawling through the New York sewer system might be urban legend, but the truth is that white alligators do exist, just not where you'd expect them to be. While most alligators have a distinctive dark green or brownish color that mimics their swamp environment, white alligators are completely pale. It therefore makes it harder for them to ambush prey on the water's edge. In fact, if you take a closer look at an albino alligator, you might think you're seeing a creature right out of a science fiction film. Their eerie eyes, creepy skin, and expressionless face even make the monsters from Stranger Things look like child's play. Literally. Because of their sensitivity to light, it's been documented that white alligators prefer dark habitats compared to their pigmented brothers. So maybe this explains why many New Yorkers believe a colony of white alligators is living right beneath them in the sewers. Number 1. Albino gorilla. While humans have been widely documented to exhibit albinism, they are not the only primates that do so. In fact, some of our closest relatives exhibit albinism as much as we do, none more famous than Snowflake, the only western lowland albino gorilla documented in history. Hailing from Equatorial Guinea, Snowflake was transferred to the Barcelona Zoo when he was just a baby. He lived there for 39 years and was the main attraction until his death in 2003. When scientists first ran tests on Snowflake, they discovered that his mutation was the result of inbreeding between his mother and a male that turned out to be her brother. As such, he was born without the proverbial dark pigment common in most lowland gorillas. But this didn't stop Snowflake from living an amazing life. He filled many children with happy memories, smiles, and laughter that would last a lifetime. We miss you, Snowflake. So, which albino profile impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments section down below. Want more videos that will probably still exist until the end of time? click on any of the videos you see on the screen. As always, thanks for watching.